The Persona series is known for having one of the best and most fun building systems amongst RPG games. And personally, one of my favorite parts of these games is spending hours on end doing fusions, planning which skills to inherit, and getting skill cards to create the most disgustingly strong personas I can come up with. However, not all personas are built equal. Some of them are just so disgustingly broken to the point where no other personas can even come close to competing with them. This may be due to their exclusive skills, insane resistances, or amongst other things. But it doesn't change the fact that they are so powerful that the moment you unlock them, the rest of your roster becomes almost irrelevant or outclassed. So today, I want to show you all what I consider to be the most broken personas in modern games. And also, what I think makes them so incredibly strong. Anyways, let's get into it.
That's great, Senpai!
By the myriad truths!
Persona 5 is the first game that introduced DLC personas into the franchise. All of them are known for having an exclusive move and also an exclusive trait in the Royal version of the game. And to no one's surprise, most of them are contenders to be considered the most broken personas in the series. However, there are 3 personas who particularly stand out to me in Royal, as they fundamentally change how you approach the combat system. And I think none of them need an introduction. So, let's start with the obvious.
Izanagi no Okami! By the myriad truths!
What did you expect? Izanagi no Okami is THE broken persona. It has transcended its origin from Persona 4 and it's now known as the universal symbol of broken between Persona fans. Although, something that isn't talked about enough is the fact that Country Maker is what makes or breaks him, not Myriad Truths. Basically, why it works and why it's broken is the fact that the more personas you fuse, the stronger he passively becomes, reaching all up to 2x damage done and 50% damage taken. Don't get me wrong, Myriad Truths is way too strong, but even some moves like Hasotobi, Masquerade and Akasha Arts have a higher base power. But sometimes, enough is enough. There's really no difference between killing an enemy 6 times over versus 4 times over. Besides, Izanagi no Okami's other greatest strength is the fact that you can summon him from the first palace with both Myriad Truths and Victory Cry. You will never have to worry about running out of SP, and will still be able to one-shot almost everything even without building him. So yeah, there are just too many factors that make this little dude way too broken.
Orpheus Picaro! Leave it to me!
Woo! Thank you so much! I appreciate it!
Orpheus F is the ultimate buffer persona in this game, and that's crazy to say considering it's a level 11 persona. Its broken skill is New Cadenza, allowing you to fully buff the party for 3 turns while also healing 50% of their max HP. All this for the measly cost of 24 SP, or 12 with Spellmaster. You can also combine them with the Wealth of Lotus trait during late game, extending your party's buffs for 2 extra turns. Honestly, support personas tend to get overlooked when it comes to talking about broken moves, but New Cadenza is just too good to pass up and not mention, so yeah.
Persona!
Let's go! You sure showed me!
Oh,
Yes!
Persona! Ravage them!
Persona! Take that!
Persona! Herald!
Izanagi is the most underrated persona of all time. While most builds focus on giving Joker an insane amount of damage, Izanagi focuses on truly bringing the power of friendship to the spotlight. His defining feature is the Godmaker trait, allowing your teammates' traits to be prompt more often. Notoriously, this is most comboed with Ryuji. This is because Ryuji can give the entire team a phase buff of 30% or 80% during the 3rd semester. Also, take this with a grain of salt, but according to information I found online, Godmaker makes teammates' traits be activated twice as often, but I wouldn't quote me on that. Anyways, I digress. In average, with Izanagi you will be dealing a lot more damage than you would just funneling all damage into Joker. But even if you wanted to, you can still use him to make Joker your main damage dealer. And you would still outperform almost every other persona in the game. He's just broken. So yeah, Izanagi is my favorite persona to use in Royal. It makes the whole team feel more interactive instead of just supercharging Joker to do big damage. And finally, Before moving on to the next game, there's a secret for Persona I also want to talk about. He also doesn't need an introduction. And of course, we're talking about the one and only...
Going for the kill.
Oh boy. This is a very tricky persona to talk about. Yoshitsune is a funny case because he's both the highest damage persona in both Persona 4 and 5. By the way, in a vacuum, Hasaotobe is actually stronger in Persona 4, and he also learns it earlier. However, since Persona 5 Royal introduced persona traits, it's actually a little bit stronger in 5. But personally, when I think of Yoshitsune, the first game that comes to my mind is P4. This is the first game that introduced him into the Persona series. And also, thanks to him, most of the community agrees that Persona 4 is super skewed in favor of physical, even though, through the mid-game, magic is also pretty good. But man, when you start trying different late-game personas, there's no denying it, Yoshitsune is king, and there is a massive gap. The second strongest move to Hasaotobe in this game is Primal Force, and it's literally only half as strong. Although, it does have a very good crit rate, 25% at base at 50% with up pupil. It makes all-out attacks and shuffle times very easy to get. But with all that being said, it is kinda funny to think about just how weak every other move looks in comparison. They really didn't give Narukami a lot of options. Regardless, I think Persona 4 made up for it by introducing such an iconic demon into the series. And it's very cool to know that regardless of which game, he is still the GOAT.
Persona!
Trumpeter is another persona that definitely deserves a mention. While he doesn't have anything special in the damage department, he is the first persona to give us debilitate naturally. It's a great skill against single target bosses. To top it all off, he has one of the best innate resistances in the entire game. So yeah, if you wanna do a late game support persona, this is 100% your guy. I think that Persona 4, while definitely on the simpler side when it comes to gameplay, it still succeeds at being fun while becoming as overpowered as you can. Now, hear me out. I know Revival isn't out yet, however, with the current information we have, I want to make an educated guess based on the fact that Persona traits are making a return, and Prime Time being able to bypass resistances. I think we have a fair shot at some of the newly announced DLC personas being able to surpass Yoshitsune in this game. I'd keep my eye on especially the ones with fist moves, so maybe Psyche, Athena, or maybe even Loki, but only time will tell. Persona 3 FES is a game I've been looking forward to talk about. It has the most unique mechanics between all modern Persona games, and unlike the rest, it doesn't have a clear-cut strongest Persona, since there aren't any overly egregious moves that just completely outshine everything else. Despite all of that, the game is still filled with some amazing build potential thanks to some very neat mechanics like fusion spells and weapon fusions. I will be focusing on fusion spells for the most part, since weapon fusions are a little tricky because of the master passives and not directly using a persona. But anyways, fusion spells can range from silly novelties to completely game-changing, and they are all tied to a specific pair of personas that no one else can recreate. So naturally, personas that wield the best fusion spells are bound to have the edge over every other one. So to no one's surprise, the first in this list is... Shiva and Parvati give us the Ardhanari fusion spell. In terms of raw numbers, this is the strongest elemental attack in the game by a big margin. Not only that, but it's an AoE attack, which is surprising considering most of the strongest magic attacks in this game are single target. For this spell in particular, I built Parvati, but Shiva would work as well. Anyhow, in case you didn't know, passive skills increase fusion spell damage, so having both fire boosters greatly affects your total output. Also, the other reason I consider Ardhanari to be one of the strongest moves in this game is the fact that Elizabeth can take a lot of damage from this attack during her ice turns, making her fight way easier. But overall, it's just so strong because of its raw damage. Thor, or as I like to call him, Better Odin, is in my opinion the best magic persona, and hear me out here. Thunder Rain is insanely broken in Persona 3. Having a 100% shock rate and enabling your team to land guaranteed crits is genuinely insane. If we also consider the fact that in FES, knocking an enemy down makes them lose a full turn, you can start permanently stun-locking every enemy that isn't immune to ailments. And I mean any. Just look at this. So yeah, Shock goes crazy, but I know some people are already thinking that Thunder Rain doesn't make Thor special, since a lot of personas can use that mode. However, we have to take Thunder Call into consideration. It's the AoE version of Rain, and it's exclusive to Thor and Take Mikasuchi. But the reason why I also specify Thor over Take is the fact that you can fuse him back directly from Odin after learning Thunder Rain, and also learning High Counter naturally. But what can I say? Thor just makes every Tartarus Guardian look like a joke. He's just the GOAT.
Good job!
Last but not least, let's talk about Siegfried and the absolute monstrosity that is Vorpal Blade. Now, Vorpal Blade in this game is an exclusive skill. Only Siegfried, Susanoo, and Chiyu can learn it, and honestly, it might be the single most unique skill in the series thanks to a very cool mechanic it has. Basically, this skill becomes twice as strong when your condition is great, turning it into the single strongest skill in the game, even surpassing Ardenari in base power. Not only that, but the reason why I chose Siegfried in particular is that in FES he has an amazing learn set, but the glaze doesn't stop there. Because outside of being one of, if not the best damage dealer in this game, he's also insane in another game. Siegfried, similar to Yoshitsune, is a beast in both games. However, this time around, he's a lot stronger in one game than the other. While he was already arguably the strongest persona in FES, with the introduction of TRGs, Fist Boosters, and Critical Amp, he's on a whole different level. His natural learn set is also incredible, being the first persona to give us access to Brave Blade, Crit Rate Amp, and Slash Amp naturally. Despite all of this, there's still a persona that literally steals his back. They do the same, but infinitely better.
Sandriana!
Yep, DLC personas strike again. So, everything I said about Siegfried pretty much applies to Sandrilan as well. Even though she's a level 36 persona, she can stack all the Fist Boosters to deal insane damage. But on top of that, she gets an exclusive skill named Slash Driver, boosting all slash damage by 75%. This is a lethal combo with Scarlet Havoc. This TRG is so incredibly strong that it can literally one-shot every enemy in the game except Elizabeth. In a way, I kind of like the idea of her being so strong because she just does too much damage for anything else to matter. But this might be one of, if not, the biggest offender of a broken DLC persona.
Persona, actualize!
Now, our final persona in this top 10 list is Milady. Much like Sandrilan, she gets an exclusive physical passive, Pierce Driver, also boosting all pierce damage by 75%. But aside from that, in episode Aegis, we got a set of new TRGs that somewhat shifted the meta from being slash to being more pierce oriented. Particularly, we got the Justice TRG being an AoE early game attack with an insanely good crit rate. You will be using this for 90% of your playtime in a DLC, but it does its job really well. Also, we have another TRG, Shadowhound. A TRG even stronger than Scarlet Havoc in raw damage, but for the trade-off of it being only single target. Now, if I am honest with you all, I personally still prefer Scarlet Havoc. While Shadowhound has a higher base power, the damage difference is negligible. And then we also have the fact that Scarlet Havoc just completely wipes every enemy on the screen, so... But I digress. Milady, it's just episode Aegis' version of Sandrilan. So no surprises that she's the other persona from this game that absolutely gaps everything else. There are a lot of personas that could have made it onto this list. So before fully ranking them from 1 to 10, I want to make some honorable mentions of personas that almost made it. And trust me, they are still insanely good in their own regard. Some of them just miss being in the top 10 by a hair, so I think a little mention is only fair. Anyhow, let's do it. In FES, I want to mention Sword and Cybele. As I mentioned earlier, Persona weapons are actually pretty good in this game, to the point where they're actually stronger than heavy spells. They're also amazing to put on your party members to deal a whole lot of damage. I didn't talk about Portable, but in this version of the game, Messiah has an exclusive skill, Magic Skill Up, boosting all magic spells by 25%, making him the strongest magic persona in this version of the game. In Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, Kaguya is worth mentioning. She used to be the queen back in the OG version of the game, but with the introduction of Persona traits, she starts falling a bit behind, but she's still insanely good. In Persona 3 Reload, I want to mention Goemon and Arsene, giving us the strongest magic theurgies in this game. And while magic is on the weaker side in this entry, they still deal an insane amount of damage. Now, it's finally time to rank them. Making this video has been really fun to do, but at the same time, holy crap, I am new at scripting videos and it shows. So if you have enjoyed it so far, I would appreciate if you subscribe and drop a comment to help me be liked by the YouTube algorithm. Let's begin. These are my personal rankings from Personas number 6 through 10. Honestly, these ones can be interchanged with each other. It's very hard to weight Personas from different games, because if I put them in a vacuum, only Personas from Reload and Royal would be here. Now, entering our top 5, I'll give it to Siegfried. Originally, I was thinking of putting Milady over him. However, he's just too good in two separate games, being a fundamental step in making the protagonist very broken. Coming in at number 4, Izanagi from Persona 5 Royal. What can I say? I didn't properly showcase it earlier, but the damage potential of this persona is genuinely crazy. The only reason it's not higher is because, unlike some of the personas above, you can just instantly make him broken off rip. Finally entering the top 3, we have Cendrillon. In a vacuum, she has the potential to actually be number 1 in this list. And honestly, the only thing that held me back from placing her higher is the fact that unlike number 2 and 1, you need to get her slash and crit passives for her to truly shine. Yoshitsune takes the number 2 spot. The name Hasotobi has become a staple in this series for a good reason. He's used for every super boss in every Persona game he's in, and honestly, the damage is just too good and he's pretty straightforward to use. Now, number 1. I guess everyone saw it coming from a mile away. Izanagi no Okami is the clear winner. While Yoshitsune and Cendrillon have a better damage potential than him, he's just so easy to use and break the game with. The game-changing factors are just the combination of him having the best Persona trait ever, as well as being able to be pulled from the compendium at any given moment without any cost. With all this being done and dusted, Persona still has one of the best building systems that gives us creative ways to build ourselves. Sometimes, some Personas end up being unintentionally way stronger than intended, and sometimes, they put a $5 paywall for us to feel unlimited power. But at the end of the day, I enjoy both sides of the coin. Just building, making strategies, itemizing, and just seeing how far they can go.